green flag at the back, so we're about to go racing here.
We certainly are then, so the very quick minutes will be counted down. In fact, the red light's already on, and the lights go out. Now, away we go then, and it's a pretty good start by Louis Wall from the outside of the front row. A pretty slow start from Tom Gadd. He's got David Mason trying to get alongside him as they go down to the first corner. It looks like Mason might just about get through into second place, with Gadd down to third position. Now, do they all make it through? There's one of them very wide, two of them very wide. I've seen worse as they make their way out of Old Hall Corner. I think everyone has got back on this time, so that is good to see. It's Louis Wall leading, and Tom Gadd trying to get back into second place at Cascades.
He came flying up the inside, didn't he? He might have almost grabbed the lead, but what's his exit going to be like? You have to wonder, because he was coming a long way up on the tight line into Cascades there. They're making their way down toward Island Bend. He has got the lead, so a fantastic move there from Tom Gadd. Louis Wall trying to hang on round the outside. David Mason in third as they turn onto Shell Oil. Still on the inside is Wall, so he might get the lead back away from Tom Gadd there, but that was a really good effort by Gadd at Cascades, and he is still alongside. They've been side by side for most of the lap now. And into the Britain chicane. Who's going to give it up? It's Wall on the outside who has to, so it's Tom Gadd that leads. He's been in, first, second and third throughout half the lap, but he's back in where he started.
Well, it's a good first half a lap, but we'll keep an eye on what's been going on for those cars that were a little bit out of position, maybe at the start, as Wall comes back down to his laps on the outside line, though. So Gadd holds on. Looks like third is West, fourth is Mason, fifth is Tate, so he's got away pretty well. Sixth is Mark Burton, seventh is Murray Shepherd, which I think is where he started. And then everyone else coming through. So there's about 9, I think, in that leading group by the looks of it at the moment. And it does include Carl Roysenars, who was down in 9th on the grid, wasn't he?
And I think it's Greg Smith who's the other one there, but Louis Wall slots through into the lead, into Druid, so going ahead of Tom Gadd there, but runs a bit wide on the exit of the corner, so is Gadd going to be able to fight back? Of course, these are the two main championship contenders now for the 2019 championship as they break in towards Lodge. Mark Burton up the inside of Andrew Tate, and following him is Murray Shepherd, but did Shepherd get there successfully? Because it was pretty tight between the two. Well, he's across the grass. Is that Shepherd? Yes, he would, so he's lost out. And for the lead, Tom Gadd back up the inside of Louis Wall. And will he get it? He will, into Old Hall, so back into the lead. Car number 12, Tom Gadd, but he runs out wide, so that's going to give the better run to Louis Wall. And you got Martin West and David Mason there too, as they make their way down the avenue through Dentons and into Cascades. It's Gadd ahead.
So 5 in the lead group, then Andrew Tate is in the next group. He's got Carl Roysenars just behind him, then Murray Shepherd just behind him after his grassy moment, and then the rest of them making their way through. But it's 5 in that first group then as they head down to the left-hander at Island Bend. We'll pick them up down there at that left-hander. They're sweeping their way through. David Mason's also in there, and Mark Burton, so he's having a much better race than he was earlier on, in that he's got beyond the first corner. And so they turn their way through Shell Oil's corner once more. Out of it they now come, through the sort of right-handed sweep before they get to the left-right-left chicane at Britain's, the chicane, and it's West that carries more speed than Gadd into the chicane in that time. He sort of narrowed the gap a little bit there, but no change in the order. And I think having the concept of a 5 and then the rest of them has gone away now, because it's getting much, much closer again, Josh.
Absolutely. It looks like Roussenard has gone 6th, and he's bringing the rest with him, but in front of him he sees Mark Burton dive up the inside and go through ahead of David Mason. So Burton up to 4th, but yes, Roussenard into 6th. He was, 8th at least part of the track last lap, and he's bringing Murray Shepherd with him towards the leaders, and the two leaders are going to go side by side, much like they did on the last lap. Last lap it was Wall that went past Gadd, but this time it might be the other way around. Tom Gadd on the inside and slots through ahead of Louis Wall. And just keeping a watching brief there is Martin West, who hasn't won since the first round at Donington.
Out of Druids along the Warwick, under the Warwick Bridge, up to Lodge Corner, and it's on the outside line. Wall that's got ahead already of Tom Gadd there, so he takes the lead of the race. West still there in third position, the Somerset-based driver. Up towards the line they come then, so it's Wall from Cirencester that leads for the Lincolnshire driver, Tom Gadd. Now Martin West having a good run on both of them as they come up into Old Hall Corner this time. It's those 3 out in front. And then Mark Burton in 4th place, David Mason in 5th, Carl Roysenars 6th. Best lap of the race so far has got we've had a spinner.
Tim Pentone-Smith is off.
Yeah, Carl Roysenars the best lap of the race, 2:06.80.
Penson Smith had a couple of cars coming up the inside of him. Sean Brame and Craig Land had just run out wide. I don't think it was a spin, in fact, but a big wide moment. But he got away with it better than we did on our first race. And perhaps the grass had a bit of dampness left. But leaders, this is pretty tasty. Into Island Bend, Mark Burton up the inside of Martin West. Can he get there? The two leaders are almost overlapping, but Wall stays ahead of Gad. In fact, they all stay in the same order, despite all that side-by-side action. We've got 7, 8, 9, I think, for the lead. So you've got Wall, Gad, West, Burton, Mason, Roussenard, Shepherd, Tate, and Jeff Peake, I think, has brought himself into this battle for the lead. So rather than losing cars from the lead group here, we're gaining them.
We are getting more and more of them. I was thinking here, Mark Burton, I wouldn't rule him out of a win. He's not yet had one this season, of course, the reigning champion. Green flag's their way, which means there's a yellow flag there because is that Roysonars? No, it's not. It's one a bit further back that's off, isn't it? I beg your pardon. But is about to rejoin the circuit. There's a bit of a moment down there at Britain's, but the leaders heading all ready through Hislops. There's Tim Penstone Smith after this moment a few moments ago, just ahead of Sean Brame. Leaders heading up towards Druids then for the third time in this race. Here they are into the dappled shade, and it is Wall leading from Gad in second. There's Roysonars. He's got ahead of David Mason now as well, hasn't he? So he's up into 5th place. I think Murray Shepherd trying to go with him as well. Yes, it's Wall that's leading, who is good at this part of the circuit, but West it is that's looking to the outside of Tom Gad this time, but Gad holds on the inside line.
Old Hall is where it tends to have quite a bit of action, so we shall see what happens up there this time. It's 4 for the lead with a small break, but the others might catch again. Tom Gad comes to the inside of Louis Wall and should grab the lead, I reckon, into Old Hall. West and Burton decide against any real move and try and get a good exit because Gad runs out wide up over the curbs, so that's going to bring the two behind. I think West might have got Wall as well, and he might get the lead into no, actually it is 44 Wall that hangs on in the end. Gad is second. There's no change after all of that.
Yeah, no, it's deceptive, isn't it? You think a lot's going on, and it might do now because Tom Gad trying to get up alongside Louis Wall here as they go down to the left-hand sweeper at Island Bend. There they are now, absolutely side by side for the lead of the race. It's Gad on the inside for the left-hander. Can he get ahead as they turn into the right-handed hairpin at Shallows Corner? Yes, he can, I think. So Gad does take the lead that time in the number 12 car, away from number 44, Louis Wall. It looks like it is Martin West, number 94, in 3rd place. Number 1, Mark Burton, 4th. Murray Shepherd is up to 5th place now in the number 2 car, so he's got ahead of Carl Roysonars already on this lap.
And it's starting to come back towards the leaders. They are. We had that 4-car breakaway, but that's didn't last long, about half a lap at that. Across Hilltop they come then. It's really been the top 2 switching around while West and Burton just sit behind them at the moment. Into the Hislop chicane they go. No real challenges at the front of the order on this lap. They turn right now through Knickerbrook, and then they will climb the hill towards climb up Clay Hill, and it's Druids where we see changes usually because the slipstream really works well up the hill there. A long run up towards Druids it is, and Louis Wall goes back through ahead of Tom Gad, using that slipstream very well. Through Druids they come. Lodge Corner is another place taken past, and Tom Gad is thinking about it. He looked to the inside, but he backs out of that. What about Lodge Corner? No, Wall is hanging on here. He's late on the brakes on the inside line. How's he going to get through? Is he going to run out wide at all? No, it's the 3rd place car, Martin West, that does that, but we might see another challenge up towards the first corner in.
I'm sure we will. Tom Gad getting alongside Martin, alongside Louis Wall, I should say, into the first corner of Old Hall, and he goes back through into the lead of the race. So they're just changing places time and time again each lap, aren't they, here? 3rd place is still West, 4th place is Burton. We've got the top 7 covered by less than 2 seconds, the top 10 covered by only about 4.5 seconds, and another change as well in that Burton's got through to 3rd place now, ahead of Martin West.
Yeah, so it's Mark Burton starting to make his moves now up into 3rd position. A good move that we've got side by side for the lead between Louis Wall and Tom Gad into Island Bend. And Mark Burton up the inside of both of them, and he gets, it's Gad that's dropped back. So Tom Gad has dropped to 3rd. Louis Wall lead, but Mark Burton is certainly making his moves now. He started the lap in 4th, but he's now 2nd as they turn their way through the Shell Old Hairpin. It's a 13-minute plus 1 lap race for the Locost Championship. So we've still got a few laps of it to go, and it's 44. Louis Wall that leads into the Britain chicane.
He does indeed, with just about 3.5 minutes plus a lap left to go in this race. Over the hilltop they come, down towards Hislops. Burton it is, up into second place now then, behind Louis Wall. Number 44, Louis Wall, winner here in 2017, a winner here this morning as well. Mark Burton, he has not won here before, I think probably just having his second race here. There's the 29 car of Jeff Peake, running in 9th place. Andrew Tate just ahead of him in the grey-coloured car, but the challenge going on further up the field.
Tom Gadd's got himself back alongside Mark Burton, but can't get through, I don't think. Burton hangs on to second place. So I guess he's really having his first race here at Oulton, isn't he, Mark Burton? It's the first one he didn't get into, really, with the car braking off the line. He's going to challenge for the lead up the inside of Louis Wall. And he gets there to Mark Burton, who started the lap in 4th place. He's going to lead, I reckon, at the end of it, but he's sideways out over the curbs, so he might not lead at the end of it. Almost put Louis Wall on the grass there, so the two of them will be side by side. I think Wall is actually going to lead across the line in the end, only just from Mark Burton. It's almost 4 across the circuit. As up the inside comes Tom Gadd to get back ahead of Mark Burton. Martin West runs out of road. He's sideways across the grass. He catches it. Tom Gadd is now challenging for the lead. It's absolutely crazy stuff out there.
As they came across the line, they were dead heating. If that had been the checkered flag, it would have been a dead heat, but there's still probably another couple of laps or so to go, maybe even 3, depending on the timings. They've got a back marker ahead of them that they need to try and lap, and that's something that's going to be a little bit awkward, I reckon. They all try and squeeze past that slower car. So it's Wall and Gadd and then Burton, who was leading towards the end of that 5th lap of the race, having been 4th at the start of it. And this is exactly the kind of thing that can happen in Locost, such as the slipstream, even at a circuit that's not necessarily renowned for it, such as Oulton Park. These 1300cc Ford cross-flow engined, not particularly aerodynamic or powerful cars, they do make some really great racing. There can be a big slipstream even somewhere like this, and that does help to get drivers going from 4th to 1st back to 3rd again within not much time at all. There's a moment for someone coming out of Druids. That is the number 30 car that has had a moment. That's Jay McNally, and he's just stranded on the curb there at Druids corner. Possibly the car not firing up.
What I was going to say is this this weekend of racing at Oulton Park for Locost, I think it's had the biggest group of cars battling for the lead we've seen for a while as well. So sort of putting anything against the Oulton Park motto of not being difficult to overtake. It's been absolutely fantastic, the Locost Championship races. We're really hoping that Jay McNally can get out of that position. Yeah,
well, the leaders have just gone flashing past him, haven't they, I think, and down back towards us. Oh, he has got going now, just after the leaders have gone through, so that's spurred him into action. So leads down towards Watch Corner. It's Wall, Gadd, Burton, and now Shepherd up to 4th place.
Yeah, so it's Martin West who's dropped back after that big slide we saw from him.
Last lap board's going out.
At Old Hall, so that's sort of gone a bit early, hasn't it? But everyone's going to see that and be able to race it into Old Hall. Murray Shepherd comes diving up the inside of Mark Burton and gets there, and Tom Gadd got past Louis Wall for the lead. Cole Roussenard is now also coming alongside Burton. Where do you want to lead this race? It's sort of hard to tell, isn't it, here at Oulton Park? But it's car number 12, it's Tom Gadd, ahead of his main championship contender, Louis Wall, as they make their way onto Lakeside for this final time, lap 7.
Yeah, and Colin Roussenard's there trying to get 3rd place away from Murray Shepherd as well as they head down towards Island Bend. It's Gadd from Wall, but who's going to be 3rd? It's now Shepherd there that's in there, but actually Roystonars has dropped back again, I think, back to 5th place. Burton through on the inside, though, back up into a podium position. So it's Gadd from Wall from Burton.
OK, so it's back to how it was earlier. Martin West trying to get alongside Cole Roussenard there. Can't do it, though, into the Britain chicane. Druids and Lodge have been the two better overtaking opportunities, I'd suggest, so there's still plenty to play for. Maybe into the Hislop chicane we'll see a challenge. We haven't seen so much of it in the low cost during this race, and yeah, Louis Wall doesn't really put on a real attack. Tom Gadd hops over the inside curb in there. Big slide from Louis Wall, trying to get the power on as early as possible because it's an important run up Clay Hill. Mark Burton is right there again, so it's free for the lead. They've got away from Murray Shepherd. Maybe he made a bit of a mistake there. Are we going to see the change into Druids like we've seen on previous laps? Louis Wall trying to get alongside Tom Gadd, and Mark Burton's coming up the inside of both of them. Gadd holds on. It's Burton into 2nd. 1 corner to go, Ian.
Right, can Mark Burton get his first win of the season then? The reigning champion has yet to have one this year. Up towards Lodge Corner for the final time. He comes out of the slipstream. Gadd was defending to the right, now he's defending to the left, but he's going to go all the way around the outside. Mark Burton's halfway in the lead of the race. They're side by side. He's got a big slide on. He goes across the track, he controls it, but Gadd's going to come through, I think, to take the win. Over the grass is Louis Wall as they come up to the line, and the timing screen tells me that it's Tom Gadd that wins it. Mark Burton second, Louis Wall third, Murray Shepherd fourth. Those three cars separated by 4/100ths of a second. The top five within half a second of one another. Carl Roysenars was fifth, Martin West sixth, then David Mason, Jeff Peake, Andrew Tate and Greg Smith.
We had 6 cars separated by 2/3 of a second. Looks more like a qualifying timesheet, doesn't it? 1.8 seconds separated 8 cars. That's what we were saying about the big packs here around Oulton Park. Absolutely fantastic. There were great battles throughout the field, but we couldn't really watch them. So Gadd, Burton, Wall, Shepherd, Roysenars, West, Mason, Peake in that leading queue. Then we had Andrew Tate and Greg Smith, Matt Grow, Craig Land, Tim Penstone Smith just beating Sean Brame. Danny Andrew didn't have a great return, did he? But he had a good battle there with Gary Brandon and Jonathan Higgins. And as I say, these battles we weren't really able to watch because the battle for the win was so intense. But as always in Locost, great battle all the way through the field. And that was probably one of the races of the season, wasn't it? A circuit, but maybe we said not great for overtaking in Locost. It was really as good as anywhere else.
It was. Just to give a name, Jack Chapman, Dave Berry, Rob Apsey completing the top 20. But yeah, Eddie, one of, well, several drivers had Mark Burton come across and taken a couple of them out on the exit of Lodge Corner. Could have won that race, Josh. But as it's turned out, the championship leader's done it again, and that for him then is his 6th victory of the season, which in a category like Locost is really quite something.
And he's had a few races where he hasn't won as well, hasn't he? Because that was back at the first race at Cadwell.
Who got the fastest lap as well? Let's just try and work that out. I think that was Burton, wasn't it, by the looks of it, that's got the fastest lap.
But as you say, Burton did really well to save that big slide, because that could have been a number of cars in real trouble, couldn't it? It was a huge slide that Burton had, trying to go round the outside of Tom Gadd, and then Louis Wall trying to squeeze up the inside. I guess we might yet see a change for that second, mightn't we? Because that's a dead heat on the screens. That will go to the officials to give a final verdict on that. So we get a definite second position.
Yeah, if it stays like that on drop scores, it will be Gadd on 259, Wall on 242, and by my reckoning then. It will just be Gadd and Wall and actually Murray Shepherd that are still just about in mathematical contention for the championship. But Tom Gadd is now a lot of the way there. 2 decent finishes at Snetterton should take him all the way to the championship.
But as I was saying earlier, Ian, Snetterton Locost races are crazy at the best of times. So I think planning anything there, if it goes out the window, you just have to race as hard as you can and hope that you keep out of any trouble. Unless we get October Snetterton rain, which wouldn't be out of the question, then it sort of adds a totally different element. But it's been a great season from Tom Gadd, who I don't think he'd won a race before this year, had he?
No, he hadn't, and he didn't actually win one at the first meeting, although he came very close. He really showed some pace, straight out of the box at Donington Park at the beginning of the year, but I think got taken out, didn't he, one of the races there when he was possibly in a good position?
I think most people did.
At some point, yes. So our marshals there, many thanks to them for their hard work. About 200 even of them here, I understand, this weekend, which is excellent when you consider so much motorsport going on at this weekend. British GTs at Donington, British touring cars at Knockhill. You've got the Goodwood Revival going on as well. But fantastic numbers of marshals here at Oulton Park as ever. So we're always very grateful to them. Still 3 races to go here at Oulton Park this afternoon. We've got the BMWs, we've got the sports specials and the bike sports, but the cars still queuing up to get into Parc Fermé at the end of that Demon Tweeks Yokohama low-cost race. I say the championship finale for the low-cost is at Snetterton 4 weeks from now, so that's certainly something to look forward to. A couple of good results for Andrew Tate there, sort of adding 9th to his 6th early one, so I imagine he'll be pretty pleased with his strongest weekend yet in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Low-Cost Championship.
Running that lead group as well, which really builds the confidence, doesn't it?
And it was also good to see people like Sean Brame get back out and get a reasonable result there in 14th position, having been a non-finisher earlier on. It's always a bit of a shame when someone has a sort of double DNF or can't even get back out for the second race.
Yes, because he was involved in that first corner red flag incident in that earlier one. So good to see Sean Brame, who's been in this championship for such a long time now, back out there and racing with Tim Peckstone-Smith, somebody else who's been around the series now for all the decade, I think.
Yeah, indeed so. So we should, in a few moments, hear from our top three. So it's a slightly different top three to anyone. Two of them are the same, Louis Wall and Tom Gadd, but we'll hear from Mark Burton as well this time, our reigning champion. They'll be all collected and brought into the clutches of Jacob Harris, who's down there doing sterling work at the other end of the pit lane from where we are on this beautiful afternoon at Oulton Park.
I guess it might be difficult for the officials to judge the dead heat because Louis Wall was on the grass, wasn't he? Or
he was.
A good way across there as he tried to squeeze up the inside of Mark Burton, who was slow off of Lodge Corner from that big slide.
Yeah, so I'm sure the officials will do their best to try and separate them, but I can see, I think, drivers, or at least I think they're drivers, now heading in the general direction of our man, Jacob Harris. So we'll go down to Jacob once again in the pit lane to speak to our top three drivers from the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship.
Right. Is it Louis? Either way, Louis. Live. We are here down at the podium with Louis Wall. Louis, you lost it a bit there at the end.
Yeah, it was a tough last lap. I was trying to tee Tom up for the long straight going into Deers Leap and sort of try and get the run on him there, but then Mr. Burton had a very good drag coming out of the last chicane, so he got into the mix, and it was a fun but quite a stressful lap for me.
Yeah, pretty much a photo finish at the end. Do you think you had it?
I thought I might have just sneaked second back, but I think it was pretty close.
So a first and a third place for you today, then you happy with that?
Oh, very happy. It's been a good day at the office today. I mean, the car's been brilliant. The engine is so strong. Grace Power do the engine, and they're brilliant. Really good.
And you've got watching with you. There's a number of family members loitering around there. Any of them yours?
Yes. Yeah, my girlfriend Ella's here, and then Dave, who looks after the car, Rob, the mechanic. So there's a bit of a team.
Brilliant. Well, I'll let you get back to them, and congratulations on your results today. Next up, we have the man who stole second place, Mark Burton. Mark, how did you manage that?
It's a year's experience in low-cost racing, I think. That is, I haven't won a race this year. I've had a bit of bad luck, but I've had the pace, when it's worked, and I felt like going for it today. I got on the back of them on the last lap, and I thought I could do this, so I tried it, but it didn't quite work out. I think it probably looked good on TV on the last corner, Tom and I sideways together, but that's not how you win a race, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'll certainly be one to watch back at the end, won't it? Are you overall happy with your day?
Frustrating day. I had a gearbox failure off the start line in race one, and I knew I had strong pace, which I showed in that race, so that was frustrating, but that race made amends for it. It was a good result and a really good race as well, so yeah, can't be too disappointed.
Can you finally get that elusive win next time out?
Hopefully, yeah. I'll be disappointed if I go the whole year without a win. After last year, I think I got 9 out of the 16, so to get 1 would be nice, so I can just try.
Well, good luck with that. Thank you very much for talking to us. Last but not least, our race winner, Tom Gadd. Tom, congratulations on another fantastic result. I believe it was a second earlier, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, it was second early, and you did say, do you think you could go on better? And I said I'd settle for second, but I think that was too good of a race not to, really.
Yeah, an excellent competition. Obviously, you're the championship leader as well now, and you may well have put yourself in a prime position to take the championship. What do you know that Ron Champion's book doesn't?
Nothing really. We've changed nothing really over the past 2 years on the car. It's just been sort of learning how to drive them, and then just sort of developing it from there, really. It's more, I think, in these cars, it is more about circuit knowledge and driving ability than it is maybe a straight line or engine power, and there's people pumping a lot of money into buying engines. I think a lot of it is down to the driver. So I think there's not a lot that the book knows that I don't. He surely knows a lot more than I do, but yeah, it just seems to all come together this year.
Brilliant, it's good to hear. Thanks for talking to us, Tom, and all the best for the rest of the championship. Right, the BMW CCRs are heading out behind me, so let's head back to the comms box.